Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
Hello, changemakers. Welcome to, I believe, the third episode of Reality Bytes, the DEX Show's show within a show, where we ground the grand narratives of the DEX space in the real world. I am joined today, as ever, heroically, though in this instance, by Tim Flower. Tim, I have to say, man, tell the people where you are, what time it is, and why you're there at this late stage in your visit.
Yeah. Well, Tom, you know what? I think I have proven truly that reality bites sometimes.
Whoa. Facts.
I had a nice long trip out to California to visit a customer, and figured I'd swing through Arizona and stop in and see my folks. And the day I landed in Arizona, I tested positive for the COVID. So I'm kind of stuck here. I don't want to say stuck because I'm with my folks. It's a really good visit, but it disrupted all kinds of plans, and flights changed and hotels changed and all kinds of stuff. So it's 6 a.m. I'm bright and early, ready to rock, and business as usual.
Well, I'd say that is a heroic 6 a.m. appearance on Reality Bytes, Tim. Well done, you. And let's get to our other heroes on the panel. Today we're joined on the journalist side. We're joined by Megan Brake. Megan, how are you?
I'm good, Tom. I'm excited to be here and interested to see. I think I've brought a potentially contentious topic today, so interested to see what happens.
I love it. Good to hear. And we're also welcoming Sam Holzman back to the show for the third time. Welcome, Sam.
Happy to be back. Yeah, 3 episodes. I feel like a series regular finally.
You're a vet, man. And we are joined once again by Dina Elshawaf. Dina, how are you?
I'm all good. Really happy to be here again. So thank you.
Happy to be back. Excellent to have you. And we are joined for the first time on Reality Bytes, but not for the first time on the DEX Show, by the excellent Orianna. Oh, Orianna, how's it going?
Going well, thanks. Happy to be back.
Lovely to have you back on the show. Okay, so we are going to get into our first topic. And I say let's go straight to you, Megan, with that contentious subject matter. I am looking forward to hearing all about it.
Sounds good, Tom. So the topic I brought today is one that I saw first in a comment on LinkedIn in a post, which kind of caught my attention. I thought that's an interesting idea. It's the idea of allowing employees to bring your own stack or bring your own applications to work. So thinking about, we're all in these hybrid work environments now. Some of us are going back into the office sometimes, but most people are still working from home most of the time. Should companies let employees decide which applications they use at work? So a little bit of a fact for you, 84% of employees are looking for better digital tools, according to a research report from EY. So it kind of, to me, that suggests that this is something that could actually factor into like someone's decision if they're deciding where to work for a new job or something, like asking what the actual tech stack is at work. So should employees be able to use apps that maybe they already know how to use, that make them more productive, or that run faster on their device for any reason? But on the flip side, this obviously has huge implications for IT. Like if you're just expanding the applications available to employees. So I guess that's the conversation I'm interested in. What would the implications be for this for IT? Is this actually feasible to allow employees to just choose which applications they use at work? And kind of what would that look like? What would IT need to make that a reality?
I mean, Megan, when you joined your last role, which is actually joining us here at Nexthink, did you bring your own applications? Did you feel that any were lacking in the stack offered you? What was that experience like there?
I didn't bring any of my own. There were certainly some that I wish I was using. I'm more of a Slack, Google Workspace
Everyone
person.
loves Slack, don't they?
So having to adjust to the Teams Microsoft way of life on my Mac device was an adjustment period. So yeah,
I've never
appeal.
actually used Slack. Is it just much cooler? Is it just a cooler
It
vibe?
has more. I think its interface. It's easier to build community. So with remote workers, I think it's easier to have like Slack channels around things you might do outside of work or whatever. Like it's easier to talk to people across the company.
But I mean, it's an obvious example, isn't it, of like it posing pretty obvious complications to the wider experience if you have people on their
Yeah.
own communications applications.
Exactly. I don't think a collaboration tool is the right example, but
Maybe
I think
not,
the
maybe not.
divide between Google Workspace and, say, Microsoft Office is a more interesting one for me because I work obviously in the writing world. So, and I don't know exactly in other fields like how that might work out, but I do think there's some where it's possible and some collaboration tools where it is not.
Well, here we are. We have an appeal for greater freedom, for greater employee choice. Tim, Orianna, Dina, are you gonna shoot us down over here? are you gonna make it happen? What's the deal?
I kind of have mixed feelings. So and maybe a little, I'll say maybe a little hypocritical too, because I have brought my own apps. But from an IT perspective, it raises some problems. And it's not just that, some people are on Slack and others are on Teams. It's what about the contractual piece? Is it, are there security risks? Do we have 4 tools that all do the same thing? What if I need to integrate with another application and now I've got to accommodate 4 or 5 different types of applications? So on the IT side, it can get very, very cumbersome, and cumbersome complexity drives cost.
Similarly, my initial reaction was definitely yikes from a cybersecurity perspective, just because there's so much risk involved with people introducing all kinds of software, maybe without realizing the risks associated with that software. On the other hand, I, like Megan, came from a Google and Slack organization to a Microsoft organization. I really do feel like Google and Slack provided me with a better user experience, and so I miss those. But again, collaboration software really does need to be consistent, and there's a lot of places where I think there's potentially maybe a compromise to be achieved where people can have more agency, more say, without throwing out the baby with the bathwater, right? I think there's just so many problems with having it be a free-for-all, but giving people more voice in what kind of software is being used can really create better experiences for everyone.
Agree to both Tim and Orianna. It's the compliance aspect of things from the IT perspective. How can we maintain compliance if we have 500 apps that would do the same function, but they are being used across the departments, users, and locations? So this is number one. Number two, it's going to be the issue of consistency and making sure that whenever we're purchasing an application, do we have the same app that does the same stuff but in a different price range? So this is going to impact the IT budget at the end of the year. So those kind of contradictions where we want to give people the freedom to actually choose the applications that they would function with quicker and faster, and aside from the collaboration tools and collaboration apps. And also making sure that we are maintaining and controlling the environment that we have in a functional way, in a fast way, and also from a support perspective. For support people to go and support 500 different apps, it's going to be a bit difficult.
I think with what Dina mentioned about, the budget, I think it's also really important to not cut corners by using inconsistent experiences. Something that I've heard in talking to end user employees and the research that we've done here at Nexthink to understand their challenges is that when an organization tries to limit their budget by having only a few specific groups on perhaps a more premium application, especially when it's a collaboration tool, you end up getting this huge disconnect between different teams and what they can use, and that can create really bad experiences and really reduce collaboration in an organization.
There are ways to tackle it too, right? You can set up a governance process so that it doesn't necessarily need to be a free-for-all, but it does need to be a request process. Hey, I'd like to use this tool. My coworkers use this, and let somebody assess it for cost, complexity, security, and get an approval for it, rather than just allowing everybody to go get and use whatever they feel like in the moment.
I've seen a design team do a bake-off with 2 different types of design software, and at the end, everybody switched to one software. And that was a really great solution for that team to say, we're going to evaluate what's really best for all of us. And if a few people aren't super thrilled with a final choice, at least we are all in the same thing for a reason that's comprehensible to everybody. I think people really like to know why those choices are made.
Yeah, you're kind of crowdsourcing the approval process at that point. You let the requesters assess what's best for them and get to a common decision.
Okay, great stuff. Getting on to the next story then. Now, you did say, Megan, yours was going to be contentious, but it did cause a reasonable degree of accord in our tech professionals, even though, as you say, they weren't all overly thrilled with the prospect of endlessly proliferating shadow IT, I suppose. That said, I have had a sneak peek of what Sam's going to be talking about today, and I am curious about how that one plays, because it does concern kind of IT professionals very, very specifically. So go on, Sam, talk to us.
Yes, well, hopefully this will be the opposite of contentious because, for one, as someone who has produced a lot of content about employee experience and improving employee experience, for once we are focusing on the IT workers' experiences themselves, and this could be called "What about IT?" I suppose. But yeah, so obviously we've produced innumerable pieces of content about how IT teams can improve employee experience with technology. And that kind of got me thinking, what about the employee experiences of the IT workers themselves? Obviously, they're included in that larger group of employees, but we rarely speak about the employee experience of the IT teams, often the ones who are using employee or digital employee experience technology. So yeah, it really got me thinking when organizations are able to use DEX technology and proactively improve DEX, we've spoken at length about the benefits for salespeople, for marketing workers, for, general employees. But how does that impact the experience of the IT people who are actually using that technology?
I love it. The experience of experienced professionals, in other words. Um, Oriana, I know one of the things that you really kind of specialize in is actually surveying Nexthink customers and IT professionals and finding out what their experiences are of using technology and as professionals in general. What was your response, first of all, to this angle?
I loved it. I actually worked at a help desk for about 3 years before I've spent the last 6 years interviewing IT professionals. And I have so much empathy for IT professionals. I feel like they are wildly underappreciated. Um, so I think that really thinking about how we can improve the experiences of the people delivering these experiences is super, super important. Fundamentally, IT professionals are delivering customer services along with highly technical services, and that's a huge challenge. And as the article mentioned, it's something that can lead to a lot of burnout, especially when people are put in a situation where they're not given the right tools to help people, right? I think we mentioned this on the last podcast that I think it can be really frustrating to feel like you're in a position where you can't actually solve the problem. You can only put a band-aid on it. I think everybody who's in IT wants to feel empowered to make real change. Um, and in general, I think the through line between both of these topics is agency, right? People want agency. People want to feel empowered to make good decisions that benefit themselves and the people around them.
And as a frontline IT guy for many years in my career, we would regularly talk amongst ourselves about that Sunday night pit in your stomach. You've had a great weekend with your family. Hopefully, weren't interrupted by an IT problem, but that pit in your stomach of Sunday night because you don't know what you're walking into the next day on a Monday, and it all comes from that lack of knowing. I don't know what I'm gonna get hit with. I don't know what craziness is gonna ensue on Monday. And understanding and creating a stable environment, that pit goes away because now you've got some enjoyment, first of all, in your work life, but you also have an understanding of what's going on, and there are fewer surprises. The other point of view is the executive. We actually had an IT executive, customer of ours, talk about the fact that his weekends were now free. He wasn't being interrupted with the Sev 1 crisis at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday when he's at his son's soccer game. So burnout affects both ends of the spectrum in IT.
Agreed to both Tim and Orianna. The fact that now we could have more visibility into what we do and have those expectations, like Tim was just mentioning, instead of worrying Sunday night that, oh my God, I'm going to be firefighting tomorrow morning, and how many calls are we going to have showering the service desk guys? But instead, you would have visibility if you have the right tools, if you're having DEX in front of your screen and you're able to actually put into everybody's experiences in place. You will be able to have more control. You will be able to fight down a little bit and be a bit more proactive, which will have some more time and give back some more time to the IT engineers to be more proactive, more working towards the solutions rather than the workarounds of fixing the regular recurring issues or the issues that just come up for the first time and everybody needs to regroup and fix them together.
Yeah, I was going to say that one of the things that executives often talk about is the reputation of IT. How do people think about it? And when it comes to the person providing support, that often registers in ways like, are they going to be the recipient of frustration from an end user who feels unsupported by their organization, and the only person they can talk to about it is the person trying to fix their computer? Or do they trust that this person is acting in their best interest and that the organization is acting in their best interest? I think that really changes the experience of delivering a service.
Very well said, Orianna, and a great discussion once again. Thank you all for joining us. That was the biggest panel we've ever had on a Reality Bytes show, or on a DEX show, in fact. It was a superb discussion. Thanks to Megan and Sam for choosing such brilliant articles. Thanks to Orianna for joining us for the first time. Thanks for Dina for joining us for the third time. Thanks for Tim for being a hero and joining us from in the wee hours.
Oh, hero.
You're our hero today, Tim, absolutely. And I hope you get well soon and get back on an Eastern time zone where it's a little easier to work together. Okay, thanks so much for joining us.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how Nexthink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nexthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.